Morning. Day shaving cream this morning is Taylor Bond Street. This one here is Eton College. This one here, as it goes for scent, it's more of a citrus-based shaving cream. You might pick up lemon, orange, mandarin, maybe a patchouli scent in there, and some floral. For me, it's straight up citrus, but this one here started out 5.3 ounces or 150 grams. It's got less than that now. I'm going to be following up today with what it's probably safe to say, one of Fine's favorite, most probably best-selling aftershaves, and this is the Platinum here. This one here is a great scent. Really like it. To do the two match, scent-wise, no, but this is what I'm going with today. I've got the lather whipped up here in my Crown King Travel Scuttle, and used a RazorRock, there we go, RazorRock BC Black and Clear synthetic knot. This really does smell great. Shaver of the day is the shaver I'm going to be using. This is a Gillette Ball Tech. This one here, has the etching on the cap. This one here predates any date codes. But this is the shaver I'm going to be using today. And here's another one, but this one here is not gold. This one here, if I remember right, yes, it does have a date code. But as you can tell, it hasn't really changed a whole lot, at least between these two versions. When you see these, eBay, Etsy, whatever the case might be, it may or may not have the etching on the cap. It just really depends. But overall, the rest of the shaver is pretty much all the same. Now, just to show a comparison here, this is one I shaved with earlier. This is a Star DE right here. And there's the underside where you can see the tab coming off of that post right there. The biggest difference you'll notice between these two when you put them side by side is that the base plate and the cap is different. This one here is the Gillette Ball Tech, and the cap is thicker and it has more of an arch to it, where the Star DE is more of a flat, has more of a flat cap, and the cap is actually thinner. It's not quite as thick. At least it doesn't look that way to my eye. And of course the base plate is even somewhat different. But they do look similar, do look alike, but they're different. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and take this apart and show you what get ready to put the blade in. The blade of choice today is the Treet Super Power stainless steel blade. Anyhow, it's a carbon blade. This is what it looks like, the wrapper. This is what the back side looks like. Now when I take it apart here, I'll show you what the actual blade looks like, because I know I had intentions of showing it last video and forgot. So I'm going to do it right off the start, so this way I don't forget, get wrapped up in everything else. But it does come double wrapped. Pretty nice packaging. And this one here is like, it does have some markings on it, yes, so there's no doubt about what you're getting. In other words, it's not like the Kai blade that is, it's just a plain blade. This one here is not quite like that. It's got all kinds of markings on it. And thought that, for me, that's, at least you know what you're getting. In that it's marked. It could be marked, the same blade, marked two different ways and be the same blade. It's up to us to figure that out, I guess. Sometimes I feel that way. It's like, this blade doesn't feel any different than this blade. It's from the same manufacturer. It does make you wonder whether or not it is the same blade or not. There it is, installed in the shaver there. It just sometimes, it does make you wonder. You read some stories along the way sometimes that are, talk about, blades that shave kind of the same from the same manufacturer, and it does make you wonder if it's not the same blade, just different marketing practices. It does make you wonder. I don't spend too much time thinking about that sort of thing because I how can you say arbitrarily? I just go ahead and I just narrow down my selection of blades. Lord has a good number of blades that are made out there. Now, are they the same? Some of them, just different marketing. It does make me wonder, but not all Lord blades, in other words, give me the smoothest of shaves, so it ends up being that in a way it just doesn't matter. Because I narrow it down to the ones that work for me, the others that aren't so great, I leave them off to the side. Preshave this morning smelling pretty good. Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements Christmas Preshave Cube. Last time I looked, they still had some of these in stock. Wouldn't think it would last too terribly long. It's a of all the scents, I like this scent. Would it be better if it had menthol in it? I'm not sure. I do like menthol, but sometimes menthol has a tendency to distract from the overall scent, depending on how much menthol is put in there. Try not to drip this everywhere. This shaving cream being a citrus scent, that was kind of appropriate for this morning. Monday morning needed something, I guess you might say a little bit on the bright and cherry side, and that's about how I would describe the scent in different words. In other words, other than orange, lemon, mandarin. My nose does not pick all those scents out individually, but I can say that it is a kind of a bright cherry scent. Not dark at all. Something to start out Monday out on. Here we go. We'll see how this blade works with this particular shaver. It's not necessarily a bad blade. It's just for me, I don't know that it's going to be a blade that works well for me. I mean, some folks have been getting good shaves out of it, so it's hitting somebody in the right spot. And this Gillette Ball Tech, it does seem just a little bit smoother. I guess you might say, so would I pick this blade in between a Derby blade and this Treet Power blade? Which one would I pick? I would go with the Derby blade. Derby is to me, gives me a smoother shave than what this blade does. And sometimes that's what one of the, I guess you might say, things I think about when I try a new blade, using Derby as a go-to blade, because Derby blades are plentiful. You can find them darn near anywhere. They're inexpensive, and so that's the blade to beat. It's not the best blade for me, but it's not a bad blade by any means. At least not for me, it's not. So when I start comparing, to me that's a standard to beat. Now once you get past that and not really factoring in cost, because Persona blades typically are run a bit more than what a Derby blade does. And they have different versions. And some of the blades that are made by Persona under a different name, marketing I guess you might say, can be quite expensive, at least what I've seen. They don't encourage me to buy a 100-pack certain name brands made by Persona. So Persona not being the cheapest blade, not that Derby is, but to me just Derby is a good rule of thumb to compare blades to if it's working for you. And a lot of shavers it works well for me, but not on all of them. but since it's such an inexpensive blade, it seems like a good standard to work with for me. Inexpensive. When it comes to being at times, you can get a 200 pack for $15. You find it on sale, and that's a pretty good buy. You'd be hard pressed to find a 200 pack of Persona blades for $15. It'd be difficult to do. I think with this particular shaver, though, this blade does work a lot better. As a matter of fact, as the shave goes on, it seems to smooth out just a little bit. I wonder if this is just one of those blades that need to be corked. If that wouldn't change the shave feel for this particular blade. I wonder if that's the deal. I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. I wouldn't thought it would be that kind of blade, but maybe it is. At least for me. Taylor O Bond Street. For me, I think it's a pretty nice cream. Really can't complain about. I haven't had don't have very many tubs of it, but I haven't had a scent just yet that I didn't like. Nothing that smells like Play-Doh. I don't know if that has anything to do with the age of the soap. That is a little bit older, and the scent was really starting to come out. In other words, not as intended, or if it has something to do with the chestnut part of the scent. And it could be maybe that's the case right there. It's just that the chestnut part of the scent just really ruined the soap. It's not a very pleasant soap. It works just fine. The base is pretty decent. I can't complain about it. But the scent it's not one of my favorites. Against the grain so far, it's not too terribly bad. I get this feeling there's going to be some stinging up with the alum block. It feels, if I didn't know any better, and it's a new blade, certain parts, especially down on my neck, it almost feels tuggy. But like I say, some other folks have gotten some great shaves. I mean, numerous shaves off the same blade, so I'm thinking it has more to do with my whiskers, my beard type. And that does come into play when you're choosing your blade. It's not like there was I got a tiger blade that's and it is carbon, and it flat out tells you that it's carbon and not stainless steel. In other words, it says it's carbon. I can't shave with them. I can't even get down, with with the grain pass on the cheek. In other words, I typically, start on this side. I couldn't even get all that cheek done. It was, boy, that blade was, yes, it fell in that category of being tuggy. It just wasn't pleasant at all. It was, yeah, talking about something that had me reaching for another blade. I didn't get very far with it at all. Now I had tried some in the past that were red labeled, like this one here that I tried out, but the shade of red was different. The packaging was slightly different, and so I'm not even real sure how old that packaging was. That particular pack shaved just fine. But then the next pack I got, like I said, just had a little bit different shade of red. Thought, well, maybe they just changed the packaging. Yeah, the packaging was different, and so was the blade. Yeah, that's the reason why for me, I'll work up the nerve to try a carbon blade, but some of them don't work out too well for me, especially if they don't list uh, a coating, which typically they don't when they say that they're carbon as opposed to stainless steel. Just a little bit of stinging. Especially, it's not small spots. I mean, it's about this size stinging on my neck. Sometimes I can just tell by how the shave's going on the cheek on how it's going to go on the neck, and this one here is kind of indicating that it was going to be some stinging going on. That's for sure. It's not, but I'm not bleeding. It's not quite that bad. Nicks, cuts, weepers, don't have anything like that going on. It's a good Monday shave though. When you don't have any nicks, cuts, or weepers, that's a pretty good indication. It's not quite that bad. I do set that standard up there though. Anymore, in other words, I'm not setting it low when I know I can find better blades that work better for me, I should say. May not necessarily be a better blade for the masses, but for me they work. Lord Cool, you don't see very many shave of the days using a Lord Cool. That blade works well for me. It's a pretty nice blade, and it's not too terribly expensive. Most of your Lord blades aren't going to be very expensive. They're reasonably priced. The menthol is working on my face this morning. If you haven't tried this aftershave, and maybe the price is part of the reason why you haven't tried any fine accoutrements aftershaves, especially Black Fridays came and pretty much gone, but there still might be some folks that are selling this at a lower than the standard, I guess you might say, daily price of $20. If you haven't tried one, maybe this is the one to try. In my opinion, this one, I haven't tried very many of fine accoutrements aftershaves, but this one here, to me, just seems like it's going to be hard to beat. This is really a nice aftershave, especially when it comes to scent. And that's what the restrictor looks like. When it comes to these plastic restrictors, I've only had one bottle that is shaped like this and has a restrictor like that I guess you might say failed. And I don't know, maybe it was something I did, because I never noticed it before. And what had happened is right there in the surface, you see that plastic? That it's like a thin little layer or cap, if you will. It just came completely off. It's like I tightened it up too much or something, and maybe I twisted that portion off, and the rest of the restrictor was still down inside the glass container. I went ahead and pulled it out because I was afraid it was going to fall off in there. And maybe it was that I twisted the cap on there too tight and just twisted it plumb off. But boy, this here does smell great. This really is good stuff. First one aftershave I got my dad was this one here, and he really did like it. Plus my mom did too. I figured it would be a good one. I had a pretty good shave. As it goes for this blade, yeah, I don't think I'll be getting any more of these, but like I said, I've read some accounts where people are really getting some good shaves, and I would just buy a pack. I'll put a link down below. Italian Barber sells them. Try a pack, see if it works for you. I mean, they are at least relatively new. I haven't noticed that a whole bunch of other people, in other words, the many websites selling them, I haven't noticed that. So far, the only website I found that sells these blades are Italian Barbers, so I don't know if that means anything or not, but I just kind of thought maybe it's because of the newness of the blade. Great shave. Hope everybody's doing well. And this Monday morning, I think we got around 5-6 inches of snow here in Oklahoma. That's a lot. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe, stay healthy, and smooth shaves to you.